Hi everyone. So in this video we are going to take a look at how we can perform CRUD operation in Powerapps. For this example I have taken a SharePoint list as a data source, and in the SharePoint list I have used almost each and every column that we have. I'm going to show you what is the list structure and what are the column types. So this video will cover how we can patch some data into all types of columns. So here as you can see, I have full name as a single line of text, department is a single choice field, date of birth I have date and time, about, which is a multiple line of text, reporting manager I have used the pickle control, which is a single select, text stack is again choice column, but text stack is our multi choice field, unit member is our person or group fields, which is again the multi select field, year of experience is type of number, married is of boolean type, which is yes no field, LinkedIn profile link I have used it as a hyperlink, profile image which is our image type of column, country column I have taken a lookup field. What I did is I already have one list called as country, so if I open this column I will show you what is the configuration. So you can see there is a list called as country, and from that country I am going to select the title column. So this is single selection lookup field. And the last one we have is a relocation preference, which is again a lookup field to country list, but this is multi select, so user can select multiple countries for this column. If I go to back SharePoint list, so here's my employee database list. And here you can see all the types of column I have used. So here is country, relocation, and is hyperlink, picture, all these are columns. So in Powerapps, I just connected this SharePoint list using data source. So how you connect to SharePoint, you go to this data source icon, you click on add data, search for SharePoint. When you select the SharePoint, it will ask you to select the site. So this is my site, and then it will ask you to choose a list. So I have already added my list called as employee database, so I'm not going to add it again. Click on cancel now. I have taken the form control, so the modern control is not enabled here. I'm using the classic form controls. I will show you under settings, updates, modern control is disabled. On the left hand side I have used simple gallery control, which I renamed to gal employees. In that I have just connected to my SharePoint list. I did not add any filters, nothing, just showing the image, name and the date of birth of the person. And here I am using a delete icon when you want to delete the data from the SharePoint list. On the right hand side I have used the form control, in that we don't have to put every control manually one by one. It will automatically get the control based on our SharePoint list of columns. So for the form control, the one thing I did, I renamed each and every control. So if we are writing in the patch function, then it will makes a lot of sense, because the default name are different, like data card value 1 2 3 like that. But what I did, so let's say this is the full name, right? So I renamed that to txt full name. For department I rename it to CMB department, so it will make easier to search and identify the control. So this is the structure of the form. Here I have used two buttons, one is save and one is receipt. Receipt means receipt every form. For receipt I have just used a single line of formula, that is receipt form, and given my form name. So what it will do, if we add any value here, when I click on receipt, it will receipt all the values from that field. And for this step we are going to write those formulas for patch function. You can use SubmitForm as well, but I recommend you to not to use SubmitForm. Patch will give you a lot more flexibility in terms of error handling. So just click on save button, and here we are writing our formula. So I will use the keyword patch. Then we have to specify the data source, like this is our employee database. Then the second parameter will be the record. If you are adding a new record, then you just have to write defaults and then your data source name. But if you are using patch function to update existing record, the syntax is little bit different. So that we are going to show in a bit. But first we will try to patch the new record in our SharePoint list. So after the second parameter has been specified, we have to add the records and map the columns. So I will open my SharePoint list here. What we have full name, department name, text tag, and date of birth. So what I will do, I will just write full name. For full name, I have renamed the control that is called full name dot text. If you are using a text field, either it's a single line or multi-line field, this is really straightforward. We don't have to write extra things. After full name, we have department. So department is our choice column. So here the control name is department, CMB department, but here we will not get .txt option because it's a choice column. So what we have here is selected item, or we can say selected. So what the difference between selected and selected item is, when you have the multi-select enabled. So let's say in my SharePoint list, if I go to department and if I open my column settings, you can see it's a choice field, but multi-selection is disabled. But if I go to my text tag column, if I check its setting, you can see the multi-selection is enabled. So for single select, we just have to write dot selected, but for multi-select, we have to write selected items. So for department, it will be selected only. For text tag, which is our multiple choice, so what I'm going to do, I'm just writing CMB, let's say text tag. So let's see what happen if I write selected only. So you see it is giving me error. So what is the error? This type of argument text tag does not match the expected type table found record, because table consists, let's say it's an array of object, so it's a multi-select field, right? So here we have to write selected items. After that we have date of birth, which is our date picker field. So here I will select column date of birth. In my Powerapps, I have renamed the date picker control as DTE dot. Here we have to write selected date. So for every column type, the syntax is different. For text, there is a .txt we have to write. For choices, we have to write dot selected and all these things. After that, we have about. About is a single multiple line of text, so it will be really simple. You just have to write that control name dot text. After that, we have reporting manager and unit member. So both of these columns are people picker, but for reporting manager, it's a single select field, but unit member is our multi-select field. I will close this. So here is my reporting manager. So you see, I had renamed the control as reporting manager, and for unit member, I have renamed that control to CMB unit members. You don't have to write all these formulas here manually. Whenever you are using the edit form control and add your data source, it will automatically write these formulas for you. So let's back again to our patch function. Here you have to write reporting manager. Now here, if you are using patch function to patch the people picker type of column, there is a little syntax is different. So let's say if you use like CMP reporting manager dot, let's say selected, it won't work. It will give you an error because there is some kind of different structure you have to follow. So what the structure is, so you just have to go to Google. Let's say the structure is same. So I'm just going to copy and paste it. So we have to pass object kind of thing. So this kind of thing we have to pass. So you can see that there is no error, but because everything is passed here as a string, and it will not give any error here, but we need to change something. So for the claims, what we have to do, we have to give our people picker control name dot selected dot claims. For display name, what we have to do, that CMB reporting manager control name dot selected dot display name. And for the email, we have to write dot email instead of display name. So here note that we are using reporting manager, and this value we are getting from that control, right? So from this, so whatever, let's say I will select here service account, I will go to my patch function, and let's see what happens, what is stored in here. So you can see in this I have told the service account is stored, right? So you don't have to use the user.email function because it will use your current logged in user name and all, right? So we have to use whatever the control has given to us. For the reporting manager, the formula is here. For unit member, the structure is same, but there is a little bit different. So I will use unit members, but note that unit member is our multi-select field, right? So what we are going to do, for all function we are going to use for all. My control name is CMB unit members, comma, I am using object kind of thing, and in that object I am going to use the same schema as earlier. Here we have error because we have to use selected items here. For all selected items means whatever items we have selected in the unit members, so these are multiple items, right? So for every item we have to create this kind of schema. Now you have to change only this one. So I will just going to copy the control name. The rest of the things are same, like selected display name, selected claims and email. These things are same. So people picker things are done. Then we have year of experience, which is our number type of field. If I go here, or you can easily see this giving me 1, that is identity for the number type of column. But you see type is equal to number. So here you have to write year of experience, and here my field is text year of experience. I will use dot text. So you see it gives me an error because we are using .txt because it is assuming that this is the string, but in the backend our column type is of number. So what you have to do, you have to use value of that one. So now the error is gone. So this kind of thing you have to remember. So if you are just starting with your Powerapps, and because you see there is lots of difference, for every column there is a different schema, right? So that's the purpose of this video, that I took each and every column from the list, and so that you can aware like how we are going to use those formulas, right? So after that we have the column called as married, that means our yes to no column. So I will show you what column is that. So this is the yes no type of column, which accept only boolean values, either true either false. So I will use my column name is married, and for that there is a toggle control. So I will just simply use that control, and its value I am going to select. So you see here we have the dot value. So here is my control married. So there is a toggle button. So if toggle is off, that means no. If toggle is on, that means yes. So instead of toggle you can use checkbox, but this is by default given by Powerapps when I use the form control, but you can change it later, no issues. So after married, what we have LinkedIn profile link, which is the type of hyperlink column. So here we have to write LinkedIn profile link, and this is my control, and I'm just going to write the text here. So it's a single text line, text type of field. After LinkedIn profile, we have profile image, which is our picture type of column. If I close this formula and go back here, so here you can see for the picture it is showing that tap to click or add the picture. So here what you have to do, you have to select this control. You will get confused, like there are two controls, so image, profile image, and there is a control called image 2. So what you have to select this one with the image. So I will copy that name. So I will write what is, I think it's a profile image. Okay, you have to give the name of that one, and you have to use dot image. But if you use image, there is one button as well, because let's see, whenever you are clicking on this button, that's a different kind of control. So you have to use dot image one. We'll go back to my patch function. So after profile image, we have country and relocation. So both of these are lookup fields. So first I will select country. For country, my combo box name is CMB country, and here it's a single selection field. That's why we have to use just dot selected. And at the last we have relocation preferences, and for this it's a multi-select lookup field. So what I'm going to use, instead of dot selected, I am going to use dot selected items. I think all the formulas that we have completed here. Let me check how many columns we have. Okay, I think we have covered all the columns from our SharePoint list. Now there will be some errors in the formula and some changes I'm going to showcase you after some time. So let's check if this formula works or not. So let's say full name, I am going to use my name here. Department will be, let's say, IT support. It's a single selection field, so I can only select one. Date of birth, let's say, be 27 Feb 2000. Let's say about will be a software engineer. My reporting manager will be, let's say, manager user. There is one manager user in my tenant. Unit member, I will select, let's say, multiple people. So user 1, user 2. All these 5 users I will select. Year of experience, I will say 4. LinkedIn profile link. So I will just copy my LinkedIn profile link. So here's my LinkedIn profile link. So you notice, like, if you copy any URL from your browser, it will automatically include the HTTPS, like these protocols directly. But for now, what I will do, I will just remove the HTTP protocol, right? I'm just going to write www.linkedin and / my username. So I have removed the HTTP protocol. For country, I'm going to select, let's say, Albania. Then preferences, let's say Argentina. Then I will select Bhutan, let's say Bulgaria, Canada, Denmark. Tech stack, I will select SharePoint, Powerapps, Power Automate, RPA. Married, no. Profile image, I will select from my system. Just click on it and it will open the file explorer, and then you can select the profile picture. I'm not sure if I use the tech stack in that. Let me check once. Okay, I've used it. Okay, I think after all of this, we already added some data here. Before saving this, I am just going to open the monitor mode. The reason we are using monitor mode is it's a very good practice when you are working on development. So monitor mode is accessible only when you are in edit mode. So whenever you perform some actions, you get a lot of error like in the notification. But if you want to see the detailed version of that error, what that error is, it's very good to use the monitor mode always. So let's see, if I click on save, you see there is one error, network error while using patch function. The requested operation is invalid. Now, if you look at this error, you won't get any idea like what the error is, from by which field I am getting error. Even though, let's say if I use my save function, patch function, if I hover over it, it will say the same, network error while using the patch, the requested operation is invalid. But I'm not getting any idea like what the error is. So you just have to go to monitor mode. You see there is a one network call that is for the create row. The patch function has been executed, and here is a runtime that is unhandled error. So we will click on it. You click on data. So let's say this one, I think data. So network error while using patch function, the requested operation is invalid. Now here is we called as unhandled error. So this error we got on runtime. So let's see if where we are getting some information or not. Here the same message, but you can see the HTTP response invalid URL linkedin.com/my username. So why this is saying the invalid URL? Because let's say if I copy this URL and if I hit this in a browser, it will open that URL. So that's not invalid URL, right? But I said earlier, like when we copy anything from the URL or address bar, it includes the HTTP and HTTPS format. But whenever we are writing or putting the URL in the form, we have to specify these protocols. So what I am going to do, I will just play the app, and here I will use HTTP or HTTPS, both will work. So you have to use the protocol. If you are using the hyperlink kind of column in your SharePoint list, then you must have to specify this kind of HTTP protocol here. Now let's say if I change something, let's say full name, I will click on save here. So you see my record has been added here. If I go to my monitor mode again, now we have to check for the code 200. So you see there is code 200, get rows count, and I think this is the create row function. If I open this create row in the data, then you can see all the data has been completed here, and I got the request URL, and after that this is my body that I've created. So this is the really good use of monitor mode to see the detailed view of your error. Now one thing you notice, when I click on save, it added the record in my SharePoint. It is showing here, but it is not actually resetting the form. So this is really simple. What you have to do, whenever you patch the form, after that you have to reset the form. Just write reset form and give the form name. So what I will do, I will just let's say put another name. I will change the profile picture. I will click on save. So it will save the record in my SharePoint list, and then it will reset the form. So you can see the form has been reset now. So this is how you can use the patch function to add new record in your SharePoint list. Now we have to see like how we can delete the record from SharePoint list. So it's a complete CRUD operation: create, read, update, and delete. Right? So creating record we have completed. We are reading the record, like we are showing those record in our Powerapps gallery. Now we will focus on how we can delete them. So what I did, in my gallery I have just used the trash icon, which is a delete icon, and on click on that trash icon, I am just using the formula called as remove. You have to use the data source, which is our SharePoint list, and after comma the second parameter will be which item you want to remove. So it's this item. So this is the only single line function you have to use. So I will click on delete here. So you can see there is a loading and the record has been deleted from my SharePoint list as well. So if I go here, I will refresh it. Now our list should show only 2 records. So the first one is the Alex and second one is this. I will clear the data. I will close my monitor because we don't need that for now. Okay. So delete is also done. Now we check how we can update the existing record. So for that, what we are going to do, the form will be same. There is no need to change the form or use a different form, but we have to dynamically change the form, right? Whether it's edit or whether it's new. By default, it's a new mode. So what I want to do, whenever I select any item from this, so let's say from any gallery, the data should be pre-populated in my form. So for the form control, there is one property called as item. So I will select form and there is a property called as item. So for this item, on your side it will be blank initially, but here what we have to specify, so whatever the gallery you have dot selected. So whatever the item I have selected in the gallery, if there is item selected in the gallery, then it will display that record here. So I will just going to click on this second record. So whenever I click on it, you see there is a data automatically pre-populating here. If I select the first one, the data will change and it is showing the first record. Now we read the data from existing record, right? But we have to update it. So for the update, we have to use a patch function again. So I am just using the save button only. And here I'm going to use if else condition, let's say. So here the patch function will be same. I will give a condition here if. So I will select as, let's say my form name is FRM employee database dot mode. Let's say equal to form mode dot new. If the form mode is new, then I want to create a new record. So to create a new record, the second parameter will be default and my SharePoint list name. But to update the existing record, instead of semicolon, I am going to use the else condition and I will put that exact formula here. Close the bracket. But the only change here is instead of defaults, we have to use the gallery dot selected. So whatever item I selected in the gallery, it is a type of record. It contains all columns of the SharePoint list. Gal employee dot selected. This is one way to do it. The second way, what you can do, you can use lookup function. So what you can do, lookup. The reason we are using lookup function because we are updating the record based on the ID column. You can use a filter as well, but every item in your SharePoint has a unique ID because we are going, that's why we are going to get only one record for this specific ID. That's why we are using lookup function. So what I will use here, lookup. Then you have to specify data source. So data source is our, let's say, employee database. Employee database. Then the condition will be the ID column of my SharePoint database should be equal to whatever the ID that I have selected in the gallery. So it will be gallery employee dot selected dot ID. So even if you write gallery dot selected or if you use the lookup function or filter function, both things will work. No issues. Now there is no change in this complete structure. It will be exactly same whatever we have used for creating a new record. Now I will play this app. Let's see if we are getting any error or not. So let's say for the full name, I will change it to, let's say, Jennifer. Department will be, let's say, system admin. Experience will be 20. LinkedIn profile, I think that's fine. Let's change the image. And here I'm going to save it. So I clicked on save. So you see the first record got updated. First it was Alex, now the name is changed to Jennifer. You can see the image also updated here. If the image is really high quality, it will take some time to load. So currently these images I have used from pixels, which are of 33 and almost 2.5 MB. If the image size is very large, it will take some time to render. If I change the second record, I will go here, change full name to myself, change my picture here, click on save. It is changing the record. It is updating the record, not changing, it is updating the record here. See, in this way you can use the CRUD operation using patch function. So generally there will be two screens in every application. The first screen will have the add button here, new button. So whenever you click on new, the form mode will set to new, and whenever you select any record here, then it is going to update. So let's play this. I did not select any record here, so I will put some dummy data again. So here I have added some dummy data. Click on save. So you see the new entry has been added in the name of Micros. I think I did not added any date of birth here. That's why it is showing the blank entry. So this is how you can use the patch function to perform the CRUD operation in your Powerapps Canvas app. Now our main thing is completed. The only thing is remaining that there are some syntax changes in some lookup function. So if you remember, in lookup we have two columns, country and relocation preferences. So sometimes what happens, if you directly write cmb country.selected, it will work, but sometimes it will give an error, because in my case it works sometime, but there is another alternative. Like for the people picker, what we have this kind of object line of structure, right? For lookup also we have this kind of thing. So if this syntax works, like your control name dot selected, if this syntax works, then there will be no issue. But there is another way to write this down. So for the lookup field, what you have to do, you have to open the curly braces. First you need to specify the id, because lookup function has the id and value pair. So first we have to write id, and here you need to write to your control name. So cmb country dot selected dot id, and then comma, you have to write value. So see, there is no error. Like earlier as well did not get any error, but yes, I saw this sometime, like writing this one line will also works, but sometime it will give you issues. So what you have to do, you just have to use the another formula. Simple. I will copy this one. For the relocation preference also I will do the same. But if you remember, if you have the multiple selections enabled, like you did check the box in your SharePoint, so what you have to do, you have to use the for all function first. For all, then you give your control name. My control name is cmg relocation dot selected items, and then you open parenthesis, and here as well you have to write the same structure. So I will just copy it from here. The only thing I need to change, instead of dot selected dot id, here I am using this record, because it is already going into apply to each. Sorry, not apply to each, it's a for all. So instead of writing the control name, it will be this record dot id, and for the value it will be this record dot value. So both things will work. So if I save this app, if I play it, let's say if I edit existing record, let's say where is my country. Okay, so country I will change to India. I will open my patch function because I think I make changes is only one thing. So to update as well, we need to use the same formula. Now I'm just going to simply click on save. So let's see if it's giving any error or not. So it did not give any error, so it is automatically updated that record for me, so there is no error. So either you can use dot selected or you can write the complete structure of that lookup field depending if you got the error or not. So here's one tip that I found something interesting, like Powerapps has name formulas, right? So if you look at our function, the patch function, here the object is same, so this object and the object I'm using while creating a new record and while updating the record is completely same. Like they have the same column, then they have the same kind of fields, right? So what I explored is I can create the formula for this object, like I can define this object on start of the application or in the name formula, let's say. So here we have formulas. So in the formula, what I can do, let's say employee record equals to, I will put that object here, give semicolon at the end. And instead of writing this complete object multiple times, I will just use this employee record name, go to my save function and just get rid of this object and just write that employee record and get rid of this also and just write this one. So employee record, instead of writing that complete one, I have used this one. Is a date of birth does not exist, the most similar column name, I don't know why this error is happening. So if I go here, the formulas, just save this one. So this thing also you can do, instead of writing the objects multiple times, you can just create or at the start. But yeah, you have to remember that the controls you have used must be same on both sides, right? So after using patch or after using update as well. So if you are using, let's say, conditional level of formatting, like you want to show the fields based on certain criteria, then you have to take care of it, because this is my straightforward application and I did not use any dynamic formula or showing the controls based on the another value. So that's why this is a straightforward app, that's why I can use this one. But if your scenario is much more complex, then you have to write this multiple times in your patch function. So I hope you understand this video, and if you have any doubts or comments, or if you are facing any issues in while performing the patch operation, you can let me know in comments. Okay, thank you.